Vesto. 12 hours ago, killed the prison doctor and drove out the front gate.
For two FBI agents, finding their man means finding his girlfriend.
So we find her, we find Lester, we find the money, right?
Seems Chevy's got a long-lost grandmother in Cartersville, Georgia.
She's gonna be here tomorrow afternoon. Now, if Big Mama's not here, then she's just gonna leave, and we have no case.
Don't worry. Big Mama be here. Look what the women blew my...
Hi, Big Mama.
Damn, you fine. I'm Sherry.
What the hell are you doing?
I've gone undercover as Big Mama.
That's an image that's gonna keep me up tonight.
Agent Malcolm Turner is going undercover.
I thought you may have forgotten all about me.
Oh, no. Big Mama could never forget that ass. Ma, asthma.
Deep undercover.
Something wrong with y'all?
You're,
Oh, that. When you get to be my age, they're like yard dogs. If you don't put them on a leash, they'll just roam all over the neighborhood.
who are you?
Big Mama asked me to come by. I'm a handyman.
It ain't over.
Let me tell you what I got. I was wrong. It just got serious.
Till the fat lady sings.
So Grandma thinks she got game.
Grandma knows she got game.
Hey, baby, why don't you back that thing up and show me what you got, what you gonna do? Back that thing up.
Mama.
Yeah,
What's that?
that's just my flashlight.
Martin Lawrence.
Big Mama, it's time. This baby could be here any minute.
Excuse me?
Well, you're the midwife, aren't you?
Big Mama's house.
Please!
Surprise.
Hey, Mama. Is there another flashlight over there?
Dick jokes. That trailer pretty much gives you a sum up of what the movie is about, but if you need a description, I'll tell you. It's, Martin Lawrence is an FBI agent who is tasked with tracking down an escaped convict played by Terrence Howard and his loot by going undercover as the estranged grandmother of his former girlfriend, played by Nia Long, unaware of the bond he will form with her, both as the grandmother and also in terms of a relationship. So, we've seen this done before. It's been done at times in great capacity. You know, Tootsie, Mrs. Doubtfire, some of the greatest cross-dresser movies of all time. Most times, it doesn't really work. It usually needs that spark or that edge to really give it its own unique spin on everything. And this has a little bit of its own unique spin to the point where I would say it's a decent film. It's nowhere near as good as something like Tootsie or Mrs. Doubtfire, and it has a lot of the jokes that are very predictable and very much there because they have to be there. But, of course, this went on to become its own franchise of films, and let me just say right off the bat that each one of these movies progressively gets worse and worse. And, you know how they were always talking about doing sequels to Tootsie and Mrs. Doubtfire for a number of years until they finally said, yeah, we can't really make this work because the first movie just works on its own and there's no real reason or reasoning for why we can continue this into other films. The Big Mama's House movie should be a perfect example of why this should not be more than just one movie. It just needs to be one movie because Big Mama's House 2, which I saw it back in the day, I didn't think it was that bad, but it's definitely not a good movie. But Big Mama's Like Father Like Son is a complete waste of your time, but I will say that neither one of these movies compares to the first movie, which isn't a great movie per se, but it still has little moments that make me laugh and go like, you know what? I can still find some value in this. I can still find a lot of value in this movie in terms of the comedy, even though it's very predictable. It's very much what you expect it to be. There's a lot of good talent involved in here. You've got Martin Lawrence and Nia Long. You have Paul Giamatti, Terrence Howard, Anthony Anderson. Ella Mitchell plays the real Big Mama. You have Tashina Arnold from Everybody Hates Chris, Octavia Spencer, Cedric the Entertainer, Aldous Hodge, a lot of notable names in this movie, and they're doing exactly what they need to do here. And I think the reason why this works okay is because it's done by the same people who did the prosthetic makeup for Mrs. Doubtfire. I mean, Mrs. Doubtfire is only about 7 years old up to this point, and it makes sense why the makeup work looks okay overall, even though Big Mama does not look, Martin Lawrence's Big Mama does not look like the real Big Mama in this movie, but it has enough there where it can get by with some of the stuff it's done, and it still has moments in there that do legitimately still make me laugh. I mean, there are still moments in here that I still find very funny in terms of, like, not just really, not really smart humor in general, but clever humor in general, and then some gross out jokes that I actually think do kind of work, but it's very few and far between. I would not say that this is a classic movie by any means, or a movie I would say I watch this anytime it's on TV. If it's on and there's literally nothing else on, I'll watch it, but it's one of those ones where I'm just kind of like, I should hate this movie more, but in the end, I think it just works fine for what it is. I think it delivers everything it promises. If it had just stayed as this one movie, I think we really just could have put it up there maybe as the bottom of the top 3 with Tootsie and Mrs. Doubtfire, but because this went on to become a trilogy in its own right, not so much. But like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's definitely the best of these 3 films, but like I said, it's not one I'd watch over and over again, honestly. It's just kind of like, it's there, it's fine for what it is, has some good moments overall, but it's not one I'd want to watch on repeat over and over again. So, yeah, not much more to say about that one. That is Big Mama's House. I was about to say Mrs. Doubtfire, but I would be wanted to talk about Mrs. Doubtfire more, but we just talked about Big Mama's House.
Car, okay?
Memphis retired car thief. June 9th.
Where's my brother? Jammed up there. I need 50 cal. I am.
Time's over.
You go for a ride?
Oh, yes. From producer Jerry Bruckheimer, Nicolas Cage, Angelina Jolie, Giovanni Ribisi, and Robert Duvall. Long as 60 seconds. Directed by John Mason and rated PG-13. Starts June 9th.
This is, of course, the remake to the 1974 B movie of the same name, but this time it's got a bigger budget, and the producer Jerry Bruckheimer is behind it, so of course it's going to have a bigger budget. But in exchange for his little brother's life, this reformed car thief played by Nicolas Cage has to do the impossible. In less than 3 days, he has to steal not one, but 50 exotic supercars from this ruthless crime lord, played by Christopher Eccleston, and to stand a chance of pulling this intricate and time-sensitive Grand Theft Auto once more, Memphis has to rely on his old Greg, his knowledgeable mentor Otto, played by Robert Duvall, the old friends Spinks and Donnie, his reluctant girlfriend Sway, played by Angelina Jolie, and a band of tech-savvy young thieves. However, the police are already onto them. Now, fast Lamborghinis, precious Ferraris, luxurious Porsches, and Eleanor, a rare Shelby Mustang GT500, are just some of the cars in the Rain's long list. Can Memphis execute the perfect car heist? Well, if he didn't, we wouldn't have a movie then. This is a film that, it's really stupid. Yes, it knows exactly what it is, and it's pretty much a loose remake of the original 74 movie. It definitely takes advantages of several different things. Not to the best examples. I mean, there's a lot here to complain about. The writing overall is not that great. The direction's not that great. The action sequences are really underwhelming, but for some reason, something keeps dragging me back to this movie. It's kind of like a precursor to what Fast and Furious would eventually make popular the next year. I mean, there's a lot of elements from Fast and Furious that you could take from this movie. Not done well, but for some reason, I don't know what it is. Something about this movie, I just remember watching it, and there's something about it that keeps making me come back to it. It's a movie that I don't find a whole lot of, but it's a movie that still holds up with me for some reason whatsoever. I don't know what it is. Like, when the action can be good, it's really good, but it's not a lot throughout the movie. Maybe it's just the cars. Maybe I'm a secret car lover, and I just didn't even know about it, but they brought a lot of cars into this, and there's a lot of advantages and a purpose to have them in here. I mean, they're there to look sleek and sexy, just like the movie is, and I don't think it works all the way through, but it just has something. Like the cast overall, I think, makes it work. Nicolas Cage, Angelina Jolie, Robert Duvall, Will Patton, Delroy Lindo, Giovanni Ribisi, Christopher Eccleston, Vinnie Jones, Scott Conn, Tim Oliphant, Chi McBride. You also have people like Ari Gross, Michael Pena, John Carroll Lynch among the cast in here as well. I don't know. It's a movie that I saw it, and for some reason, it just keeps coming back to me. Every once in a while, I see it on TV, and I'm just like, I'm going to watch this again, and I come out thinking, why do I like this so much? Because a lot of the things about the movie I don't really like about it. This should be a movie that's a fast-paced action movie, and even if the writing and the direction is bad, the action sequences should still keep me going, but it just isn't quite it. I mean, I think what it is that I'm so used to playing Burnout, the Burnout series, and a lot of these races in here are very similar to something like Burnout and Need for Speed, that it just kind of, that's part of the reason why I still connect with this movie overall. I mean, honestly, maybe that's just what it is, because honestly, the more I think about this movie, the more I should hate it, the more I should not be a fan of it, but I don't know, it just really is something that I like watching, kind of a guilty pleasure in a way, but not on the same level as something like a Speed 2 or Space Jam, but it's a movie that I keep going back to every once in a while, and there's just something about it that really keeps my interest going. I mean, I really can't tell what it is, but I kind of enjoy it, even though I don't really like a lot about it. There's still some things about it that just keep me coming back to it for some reason, and it's just, I don't know, like, maybe it's because I saw it when I was little and I really got invested into it right away, but other than that, though, this is one I probably shouldn't like as much as I do, but I kind of do, so not much more to say about that one, so that's gone in 60 seconds.
Can't help you. When the courts can't defend you, there's only one man who can protect you.
You're damn right.
John Shaft, heard you quit.
You think that makes me less dangerous or more dangerous? That's my dog, Shaft. That's my man.
Samuel L. Jackson is Shaft.
Can you dig it?
Rated R. Friday, June 16th everywhere.
So this is kind of a remake, but also seen as kind of a contemporary sequel to the original 1971 movie, which of course starred Richard Roundtree and won Isaac Hayes the Oscar for the theme song for Shaft. Basically, this movie is Samuel L. Jackson's character is related to the earlier film Shaft. You basically have John Shaft, played by Jackson, who is the lead detective on a sensitive case. A young black man is severely beaten. The man's companions tell Shaft that their friends humiliated the one who was spouting racial slurs at him. Staff confronts him, and he said he's Walter Wade Jr., the son of a wealthy man. And Shaft finds that he has the idea of a woman who's a waitress at this bar where Wade and the guys who were attacked were. When Wade continues to hurl racial comments, Shaft smacks him. Shaft learns that because of his actions, Wade was granted bail and fled. 2 years later, Wade returns and Shaft arrests him. At the hearing when the judge grants him bail, that's when Shaft throws his badge at the judge. He then sets out to get Wade to find the waitress. Wade, in the meantime, asks a drug dealer named Peoples Hernandez to find the waitress and make sure she doesn't talk. And, comparing this to the one that came out not too long ago, the more comedic remake of Shaft with Jackson and Roundtree, I think, I can't remember who the third person was. I can't remember who it was. Jesse T. Usher. That one, I didn't hate it as much as everybody else did, but especially comparing that to this movie is definitely the better of the two Shaft movies with Samuel L. Jackson in it. I mean, the one that they did was supposed to be kind of a satirical satire of the Shaft series overall, and at times I thought it worked, but at the same time, it wasn't as great as I think people were letting it up. I was kind of hoping it would be, because you got Samuel L. Jackson, you got Richard Roundtree, Regina Hall's in that movie. Anything she's in, I'll usually be there on opening day just to see her in it. And I thought it was okay, but it wasn't what it really should have been. I think that doing this in more of a contemporary setting might have been a little bit of a risky challenge at first, but you have a great director like John Singleton who really made this work better than I thought it could have been. I mean, this is definitely a movie where it's just coming more in line with what you expect from a Shaft movie, and more importantly, it does a good job of bringing John Shaft and everything about the character into a modern setting and not feeling like it's there just out of its timeline, like this is something that should have stayed in the 70s. They do a good job of modernizing this, and they've got a really great cast overall to really make it work. Vanessa Williams, Jeffrey Wright, Christian Bale, Dan Hedaya, Buster Rhymes, Toni Collette, and even Roundtree himself is in this film as well. I thought they did a very good job with it. I think it was well handled. I think it was actually well performed overall. Samuel L. Jackson, I mean, anytime you put that guy in something, he'll usually give it his all, even if it's a really bad movie. And he's been in a lot of bad movies too, but I mean, he fits the role so well. I think the movie did a pretty good job of handling this very well. It's definitely worth a watch. Even if you've never seen the original Shaft, I think you can definitely get a lot out of this movie and really appreciate it for what it was doing. I had a real good time with it. I really enjoyed this one a lot. Definitely check it out. Shaft, I highly recommend it. So with that said, on to our next movie, and that is Don Bluth's Titan AE.
Defense shields have been penetrated. Enemy warships have entered Earth's solar system.
Deploy the last wave of fighters. Taking heavy fire!
Final warning. Prepare for thermal attack.
Evacuate! Evacuate! Launch remaining escape craft!
Without a planet, we're no longer a threat.
Hey, it's me, it's Kale.
Humans. Wait.
The Titan was the key to finding a new homeworld. Your father hid the Titan. He knew the Dredge would come after him. The only way to find it is in your hand. Me? The Dredge wants you, only dead. How do you know they want me dead? I happen to be humanity's last great hope. I weep for the species.
Titan AE.
So Titan AE kind of marks a number of different things. Specifically, this is the last film directed by Don Bluth, who this was a highly touted film. This was a film that Fox really had a lot of high hopes for. The teaser trailer for this actually premiered way back in May of '99 when Star Wars: The Phantom Menace came out, and now over a year later, the movie finally comes out, and it just kind of falls in the same category as a lot of original sci-fi content, trying to be something unique and original, and it just doesn't have enough there to really get it to where I think they wanted it to go. You basically have a story here where you have the young man here played by Matt Damon, who after a hostile species destroys Earth in the year 3028, receives a mission to save humanity and protect the giant ship that can create a new planet. Along the way, he joins up with a ship's crew and their captain. The captain's played by Bill Pullman, and Drew Barrymore also has a role in here as well, who help him find the ship before the aliens can destroy it. And I think this was a very ambitious project, but it was a film that really, it has a little bit of a hard time mixing in the CG and the 2D animation. I think that was really one of the things that really kind of hurt it in the long run. But the animation overall is very good. I think the cast overall and the visuals, when they work, they do work very well here. But a lot of the problem with the movie comes in the story department and the character department. Like, this is stuff that we've seen done numerous times in movies that are trying to be the next Star Wars or trying to be the next big sci-fi franchise. I mean, it's hard to make an original sci-fi concept and it succeed. I mean, look at what just happened this year with The Creator, which is a film that was highly touted as an original sci-fi feature that took a lot of inspiration from other movies, but ended up crashing and burning at the box office because it didn't do it well enough. This is a film that I feel like had the same problems, and unfortunately it marked the end of Fox Animation Studios for a little bit before they eventually went on to team up with Blue Sky, and then went on to make their own movies again, starting with the Simpsons movie it's very late down the road in the decade. But Joss Whedon was one of the writers on here. Ben Edlund, the creator of The Tick, was one of the writers on here. John August. Good writers overall here, just not a good script overall to really keep the movie from becoming its own thing, like its own unique thing. Like, that's really the biggest problem with it overall. It's trying so hard to be the next big thing that it has to rehash a lot of the same stuff we've seen done better in other sci-fi movies, specifically Star Wars films, and it just can't go over that level where it could really be something incredible and really stand out on its own. Like I said, it's really hard to make good original sci-fi. I mean, once in a while it comes around. You get a District 9 every once in a while, but then again, you get something like a Creator or something like a Lucy or something like an Transcendence. And movies that have good ideas, just wrong execution. And this is a film that I definitely feel like has a lot of good ideas, but just not the right execution. And it's the end of an era because, like I said, this was the last movie Don Bluth directed before he couldn't get another film off the ground. I mean, it'd be nice to see him tackle more films again because he is still working. Like, he is still very much working on other projects, but this is the last big theatrical release he had. And you know, seeing these on a big screen really make a big difference, honestly. Like, I would really like to see a 2D animation renaissance nowadays, and Don Bluth getting another chance to direct a movie again, which I hope happens. I heard Disney is trying to go back to 2D animation again, so maybe that could be something down the road, but I don't know. But in terms of Titan AE, a lot of things about it work, but a lot of things about it don't work overall, and I can't really recommend it per se. I think for a one-time watch, it's fine, but it's not one you want to go back and watch over and over again, honestly. At least in my opinion, it isn't. So with that said, let's move on to our last movie, and that is Boys and Girls.
It's about sex every 5 seconds. Sex. Question, exactly how far can you bend over?
Have you ever been with 4 women before?
Ladies, how are we doing?
It's called pool. Did you get Fridays off?
I got Friday nights off.
I'm sure you do.
Works for me. Boys and Girls, rated PG-13. In theaters everywhere, Friday, June 16th.
So the story here is that you have two main characters, Ryan, played by Freddie Prinze Jr., and Jennifer, played by Claire Forlani. They meet each other initially as adolescents and later realize that their lives are intertwined through fate. You also have Jason Biggs and Amanda Detmer playing the other couple in here. And right off the bat, my first thought about this movie is, man, the casting in this movie really is bad. Like, Jason Biggs is supposed to be the suave, sex-craved, guy. Like, he's supposed to be like a character that Freddie Prinze Jr. would play in a movie like this. But they have the roles switched around here. And really, that's one of the first signs that this movie really is not going to work in the end. Not to say that Prinze Jr. and Claire Forlani don't have good chemistry together, but the biggest problem this movie has, and I just realized it watching this trailer again, it's basically a teeny bop version of When Harry Met Sally, and not a good version of When Harry Met Sally. I mean, When Harry Met Sally is one of the best romantic comedies ever made, honestly. But it works because you have two great minds behind the scenes in front of the camera, too, with Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan. I mean, two really good, high-caliber actors at the top of their game at that time. But here, it just feels like they're ripping off When Harry Met Sally, and they're not even trying to hide it. The casting, like I said, is not very good. These characters really don't fit the actors that are playing them overall, and it just doesn't work overall. It's a movie that I think was trying to do something a little bit clever and a little bit more interesting, but I think because the director did She's All That, and then previously before that he did Cinderella, I think that gave him a free pass to basically do whatever the hell they wanted to do with it, and it just didn't work out in the end. Like I said, I think the biggest problem with the film overall is the casting of the two main guys in this movie is swapped around, and it really hurts the complexion of the film overall. Like, Jason Biggs would actually be in another movie later this year called Loser, which I think works better because that plays more to what we expect from a Jason Biggs role here. We don't expect him to be on the same level as a Stifler in this movie. I mean, that makes no sense whatsoever. Like it just doesn't work here. It's a real missed opportunity on so many levels. Boys and Girls, it's not worth it in the end.
Diagnosed you as having a split personality.
A schizo. I don't remember any of this.
Meet Charlie, sweet-natured fella.
Sweetie, it's kind of dangerous. You want to move it up onto the sidewalk, away from the traffic?
You've been avoiding confrontation, but this guy inside, Hank, he doesn't.
Meet Hank. Now, he's a rough customer.
What are you staring at, four eyes? You want to start me up? Just open the choke and pull the cord down.
What is your problem?
I got no beef with you. This is between me and the kid.
Unfortunately, Hank is Charlie.
I have to take a pill every 6 hours or I feel funny.
What's it called?
Advanced illusionary schizophrenia with involuntary narcissistic rage.
From those pesky Fairley brothers.
Oh, it's on now.
The directors of There's Something About Mary.
What the hell are you still doing here?
Can't get rid of me, Hank.
Hey! Hey! You're only hurting yourself!
Jim Carrey.
Let go, girl. On the greener pastures. Come on. Let go.
Me, myself, and Irene.
Punch me in the face.
What?
Don't give me one of those curly, I want to break a fingernail love taps, you know? Come on, whip my head out.
that trailer kind of gives you a sum up of what the plot is. You have Jim Carrey as this Rhode Island state trooper named Charlie, who after years of continuously suppressing his rage and feelings suffers a psychotic breakdown that results in a second personality in Hank coming out. And he's doing this while he has to take in this person to a corrections office in New York, played by Renee Zellweger. And of course, the chaos ensues from there. And you know, this was like I said, this was the first movie the Farrelly brothers did after There's Something About Mary, and a lot of people consider that to be one of their best films, Dumb and Dumber possibly. I just put this up there in the top 3 because, man, this is a really, really funny movie. This plays to all the strains of what I like about the Farrelly brothers' early works. I mean, it's got a lot of slapsticky humor. The black comedy in this movie is top-notch, and sometimes it's even literal black comedy. Like, I love this idea that Jim Carrey basically has these triplets who are biracial. One of them's played by Anthony Anderson, and when these guys show up on screen, they really are part of the humor of this movie. They are really hilarious when they're on screen. Like, they really do have some of the funnier moments in the movie. But the real star of this is Jim Carrey. I mean, Jim Carrey has to play these 2 different personalities, and man, there are so many great, fun, quotable lines from this movie. Some of them I obviously can't say on here because of obvious reasons, but let's just say that there are a lot of F-bombs in this movie, and most of them are pretty funny. Like, I really, like, some of the gross-out humor is actually really clever and funny, too, and that's really hard to say when you really think about it. Like, gross-out humor most of the time isn't that clever, but the Farrelly brothers find a way to make this kind of stuff really clever. At least they did back then. Nowadays, they want to be more serious now. Of course, they got to make a schlocky Oscar-bait stuff like Green Book or Champions, but this is back where the Farrelly brothers really used their strengths to work to the film's advantage. Renee Zellweger is pretty good in the movie, too. I don't think her chemistry overall with Carrey works very well. I mean, she's got to play against the 2 different personalities for this one guy, and I don't know, I just didn't feel it at first. I thought she was kind of the weak link overall. I thought she was okay, but she definitely could have been a whole lot better. I think they were also dating at the time, too. I could be wrong on that, but like I said, man, this is just a really, really funny movie. And sometimes you can really believe in what Charlie is going through here. I think a lot of people have that second person there inside of us that just wants to, like, get his rage out there and just basically results in the second personality. And I think most people do a good job of containing it. But here's what happens when you just can't take it anymore. And really, like, I think a lot of people can really relate to this, and I think it's really funny. I think it's really clever stuff. I think it's really well done. I think it's definitely one of the best Farrelly Brothers movies, and like I said, man, it's quotable as hell. Like, I can't say these quotes because, like I said, there is a lot of profanity in this movie. I'll just say that, but yeah, man, I love this movie, man. I really do love this movie a lot. Just great elements all around. I can't recommend this one enough. This is definitely one of the Farrelly brothers' best films. Probably top 5 overall, honestly, the more I think about it. But that's me, myself, and Irene. So let's go ahead and move on to our last film, which is another really good movie, the first feature film from Art Animation, and that is Chicken Run.
Ever wonder what chickens do when you're not looking?
No chicken escapes from Tweedy's farm.
We've got to get out of here. Chicken identity confirmed. Ginger.
Curious to Walla.
Miss Tweedy.
Miranda Richardson.
It's a pie machine. Chickens go in, pies come out.
What kind of pies?
Bad.
Jane Hawks.
I don't want to be a pie. Don't like gravy.
Rocky the Rooster.
Mel Gibson.
Hi, how are you?
Which book is it?
Rock and roll.
Those chickens are up to something. They're organized.
Chickens.
They're on a mission.
Operation Cover Up.
That's chicken. Impossible.
Mixed vegetables.
Chicken run.
This egg will hatch in 5 seconds.
Automatic.
Of course, Mission Impossible 2 was the big hit of that summer, so of course we gotta parody that. honestly, I'm surprised that I think that might be one of the earliest attempts for somebody to parody a popular thing coming out at the time, or something that they knew was going to be a big hit, which really, that's probably the only reason why they did it. But I digress. Trailer aside, this is still an incredible movie. This is, of course, Iron Man's first animated feature film, and it centers around a group of British anthropomorphic chickens who see an American rooster named Rocky, played by Mel Gibson, as their only hope to escape the farm when the owners want to turn them into chicken pies. And kind of like with Toy Story a couple of years prior, this was a game changer for animation. I mean, while Toy Story showed what computer animation can really do, this is a film that really showed what claymation could do in feature-length form. And for Iron Man, it was a big test for them to see if they could make this work. And this was the first of several films that they did with DreamWorks throughout the 2000s. And good start. I mean, it's a really damn good movie. It's got a great cast: Julia Sawalha, Mel Gibson, Miranda Richardson, Timothy Spall, Jane Horrocks, Imelda Staunton. Just a phenomenal cast. Really good writing by Carrie Kirkpatrick, who's written a ton of great stuff over the course of her career. Of course, the people behind Wallace and Gromit are behind this, and Wallace and Gromit is great stuff all around. This was just a winner all the way through. Granted, it has some times when it borrows a little too predictable elements to it. Like, of course, we got to have the liar reveal happen, and that's something that it's a really bad cliche, but you kind of have to do it at this type of a story, and it does run a little bit too long. But that's really one of the few flaws I have with the movie. I think the rest of the film is very clever. I think the animation overall is very well done. The music by John Powell and Hans Zimmer is really, and Harry Gregson Williams, not Hans Zimmer, although I think he did a couple of other Aardman movies down the line, but it's Harry Gregson Williams and John Powell doing the music for it, and I think they did a very good job of handling that. And it's a good, fun adventure film. It's a good, fun animated adventure film. It was really it's probably the best animated film to come out in 2000. Honestly, the more I look at some of the movies that we have on here, this is definitely very high up there, if not the best animated film to come out that year. And as of doing this, we're about 1 week away from the sequel coming out, Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget on Netflix, which could be good, but it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be hard for me to not see these characters of Ginger and Rocky and not think of Julia Sawalha and Mel Gibson. Yeah, Tandy Newton and Zachary Levi are great actors, but when I think of these two characters, I think of what I see in the original film, and I don't know, hopefully it's good. I'm hoping for the best, but like I said, man, this is a great film. I can't recommend this one enough. Definitely check out Chicken Run. So The Perfect Storm is based off the book of the same name by Sebastian Junger, but it's also based on a story about what happens with this ship called the Andrea Gale. This is a commercial fishing vehicle that's lost at sea with all hands on deck after being caught in the perfect storm of 1991. And if you don't know what the perfect storm was, it was basically a small unnamed hurricane, which itself was very late in the life cycle. It basically was a large and powerful cyclone. The storm lashed the East Coast, high waves, coastal flooding. It wasn't anything like Hurricane Andrew levels, but it really came out of nowhere. And this came around Halloween of that year, so there was a lot of damage. And of course, one of the more notable things that happened was the ship got involved in it. And it's the second time you have George Clooney and Mark Wahlberg teaming up after Three Kings, which came out less than 6 months before this movie did. Wolfgang Peterson, this is coming off of Air Force One. And usually movies like this, I don't know why, but I'm not usually the type of person that gets into the whole weather movie angle. There's only a couple in particular, though, that I actually have kind of enjoyed. The Day After Tomorrow was one of them, and this one I gotta give it credit for. This is the other one that I really like, and I like it because of the stuff you see in the trailer. The shots of them when they're at sea during the storm, they're very well done. There's a nice mixing of CG and practical effects being used in here, and that shot of the ship going up the wave, like, that's such an iconic shot, and it definitely shows you why that's on the poster for this movie, because it leaves such a lasting impact on there. To see that on a big screen in 2000 probably would have been something incredible to check out. I mean, on top of that, you got a great cast: George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, John C. Reilly, Diane Lane, Bill Fichtner, John Hawkes, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, Karen Allen, Bob Gunton, Christopher McDonald. Just a phenomenal cast in this movie. Michael Ironside's also in here as well. And it's just a very entertaining film. It's really well done. You go to see this on it. This is the perfect time of the year to release a movie like this, because it's on a big screen. You got these amazing visual effects that really do hold the film together. The story overall, it's your typical story. We've seen this done over and over again, but it works because you have great actors all around here. George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, Diane Lane. I mean, those alone make it worth watching. And it's Wolfgang Petersen, man. Wolfgang Petersen very rarely makes a bad movie. And this is one of those ones where just visually on its own is something that needs to be seen on its own. I don't know if there is a 4K version of this movie, but man, Warner Brothers better get on that, man, because this movie would probably look incredible on a 4K, or I know it has a Blu-ray, but a 4K version of this could look incredible, honestly. And like I said, it's one that I really do recommend, mostly because of the visual effects. It's a visual splendor to look at, and it's definitely worth a watch on that front. So definitely check that one out, The Perfect Storm. So, with that said, on to the next movie, and that is Mel Gibson and Roland Emmerich's The Patriot.
Joining up with him. I forbid you to go. Not a child. You're not a child. A father protecting his family. A son defending his beliefs. On June 28th.
I request, sir, that you transfer my son here under my command.
The battle comes home.
Where did you learn all that riding, shooting, scavenging?
My father told me. Mel Gibson.
This is not the conduct of a gentleman.
I'll take that as a compliment. The Patriot, rated R. Opens June 28th.
So The Patriot takes place in the American Revolutionary War of 1776, and you have Mel Gibson playing this American colonist, Benjamin Martin, who's opposed to going to war with Great Britain, but along with his adult son, played by Heath Ledger, they get swept into the war when his home life is disrupted and one of his sons is murdered by a cruel British officer, played by Jason Isaacs. And it's interesting because this is Roland Emmerich. This is the guy that spent the last couple of years making some notable movies, some good, most bad. I mean, Stargate, Independence Day, Universal Soldier, Godzilla. This was the first movie where I think he got the idea that maybe I need to step away from the big, overblown disaster movies and actually do something that is more personal to me. Maybe it is personal to him, maybe not, but it is nice to see him do something completely different in general. And I think it is a very solid film overall. And quite frankly, it might be the best thing he's ever done, even though you could kind of agree with some of the harsh criticisms that most people have with it in Britain about how the whole thing is basically anti-British, and also the fact that there are a lot of things about this movie that are not what actually happened during the time. I think Roger Ebert kind of said it best. None of it has much to do with the historical reality of the Revolutionary War, as long as it's a movie that is at least trying to entertain. And again, this is Roland Emmerich. I'd rather see him do something like this than have another movie where he's just doing the same, where he's just blowing shit up for no reason whatsoever. And I think it's done well. Am I going to say this is a classic movie by any means? No, but again, I'm glad to see that Roland Emmerich is doing something different compared to what I'm used to seeing him doing. And this thing works well for what it is. I think it's fine. Not one of the best movies he's made, but it certainly is it's the best movie he's made, but I'm glad to see him do something a little bit different that's outside of his norm. Even though this was a big hit, he eventually did go back to doing what he was doing, what he became famous for with he hasn't gone back ever since, honestly, the more that I look here. Day After Tomorrow is, we'll get to that one later on, but like 10,000 BC, 2012, Moonfall, Midway, yeah, enjoy this, because this is peak Roland Emmerich right now. It all goes downhill from there, so With that said, let's move on to our last movie. The biggest flop of the weekend, but is it really that bad? It's The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Oh my God, it's Rocky and Bullwinkle!
Experience an adventure that's larger than life.
You weigh 400 pounds!
Yeah, but it's all moo-moo. The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, rated PG, starts June 30th.
Yeah, I remember when this movie came out. This was a huge bomb at the box office. I mean, it was one of the biggest bombs in history at that point. $76 million budget, only bought in $35 million. But when you look back on it, is it really that bad as everyone made it out to be? Because I certainly don't think so. The premise here basically is simple. You've got a young rookie FBI agent named Karen Sympathy, played by Piper Perabo, who will later be seen in Covert Affairs and Cheaper by the Dozen, who enlists the help of Rocky and Bullwinkle to stop Boris, Natasha, and Fearless Leader from taking over the United States. You have June Foray and Keith Scott, I should say, doing the voices of Rocky and Bullwinkle, and you have Rene Russo, Jason Alexander, and Robert De Niro as Natasha, Boris, and Fearless Leader. And for Robert De Niro, this was kind of a big deal because this was his first kids film, and I think he said himself that he did this specifically because his kids wanted him to star in a movie like this. And like I said, man, the movie really is not as bad as people give it credit for. Far from it. I would actually say that this is a pretty fun movie, just for the fact that it's mostly 2D animation. It's 2D animation and live action coming together, and CG animation and live action coming together, and doing it pretty well. Plus, Rocky and Bullwinkle are just so fun to watch. I mean, I'm glad that they made a movie where, I mean, they weren't really, the movie makes it seem like they're not as popular as they once were. They were still fairly popular at the time. You can still watch their shows whenever it was on Cartoon Network and all that. And I guess the idea was that the movie didn't do well because of baby boom, because of the fact that it wasn't being fresh enough to young audiences or appealing to the nostalgia of baby boomers, which in some ways I can kind of see where they're coming from, but at the same time, I think they did a pretty good job of staying mostly true to the cartoon. I mean, it definitely feels like a lot of the cartoon's elements are in here, and at times the writing can actually be really funny and really smart. I mean, plus you just have a good cast overall here. I mean, Alexander, Russo, and De Niro actually do a pretty good job of handling these roles pretty well here. You got Randy Quaid in here as well, Paget Brewster from Criminal Minds, Janine Garofalo, Carl Reiner, Jonathan Winters. There's a couple of roles in here for some reason, but John Goodman, Kenan and Kellerman here, James Rebhorn, David Allen Greer, Whoopi Goldberg you see in the commercial there. There's a great cast overall in this movie, and I think they do a really good job for the most part of handling this in a setup like this. I don't think it's as good as something like Who Framed Roger Rabbit is, but the film itself even makes fun of the fact that it can't be another Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like, one of the guys is just like, this sounds like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and Robert De Niro's just like, shut up, this is totally different, when kind of isn't, but it's still fun, man. Like, I give this movie a lot more credit than I think a lot of people gave it credit for when it came out. I just like seeing these characters on the big screen. Like, it's fun to see. Like, June Foray is one of the great voice actresses, and to see her come back as Rocky again, that's just fun. And I think there is a lot to admire about this movie that I think a lot of people overlooked at the time. And I kind of wish this movie did get more of a following over the years since its release. It's getting it sort of, but not really. But like I said, I think it's much better than people give it credit for. Is it one of the best movies of the year? No. It's still a ton of fun, though. I had a good time watching it when I was little. And even when I watch it nowadays, I'm more surprised at how good it's held up for the most part over the last couple of years. And I really do say definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle. Go into it with an open mind. I think you will actually find it a lot more enjoyable than a lot of people gave it credit for.